What is up, Humorous Progress viewers? I love you guys. And some people were talking about, commenting about the fact that I call this channel Humorous Progress. The reason is that this channel actually was started as Humorous Progress. Then YouTube allowed you to create a vanity URL or just a display name, which is what it is now, which is my name, Brian Turner. But the URL of my YouTube channel is still Humorous Progress. So that's why people, when I tell people to go here, I tell them to punch in Humorous Progress. It pulls this channel up, even though it says Brian Turner. Anyways, I digress, because this has nothing to do with the topic at hand. The topic at hand is IF and the problems that people perceive with it. I've gotten a lot of comments lately and messages lately of people hating on me for posting that video about IF and telling people about IF, how to do it, the details of it, the fact that I'm doing it. And there's a lot of people saying, like, one person said this. One person said, I did IF for whatever many months, like 2 years ago or whatever, how many, I forget what the time limit was. And I was hospitalized because I ended up, like, binging or creating, like, this horrible eating habit or something like that. And I ended up being hospitalized. You shouldn't be telling people to do IF. I've gotten other ones where people say, like, IF's a horrible idea, IF is stupid, and they don't give an explanation. And then I've gotten ones where it's like, IF is so dumb, dude, it's going to breed all these horrible habits in people. So those problems, specifically the one where the guy got hospitalized, that's terrible. First off, I'm not going to lie, that's terrible itself that he was hospitalized. But the reason I don't think was IF, just, as a diet idea and scheme of eating in an 8-hour period and then not eating for 16 hours. What I think is happening with these people who hate IF so much is one of two things. One, they're either accidentally doing IF, meaning that they haven't planned it. They weren't premeditating the fact that they were going to eat for this many hours, not eat for that many hours. They get busy in their day, and then they're not eating in the beginning of their day, and then they're like, oh man, I'm just gonna not eat some more, or they don't even realize that they're not eating, and they just keep letting it go, and their hunger is just building and building and building and building. And the difference between planning and not planning IF is that if you're planning it, you know what foods you're gonna go for. You know the first thing you're gonna make, and then the next 3 meals that you're gonna cook, you just have them in mind. And that keeps you heavily away from binging, from getting a donut and then having the rest of the donuts, or eating the beginning of some chips and then eating the rest of the chips. You can't snack, you can't play around on IF because you're so hungry that as soon as you eat the first thing, the rest of it's going to be gone. So you better make sure that first bite of whatever meal it is like oats or like chicken and potatoes, so you can go to town, eat the rest of it. But if if you're like, oh man, I'm just going to have one truffle out of this 12 truffle box, and you haven't eaten calories for 15 hours and you have 2,500 left, you're going to eat the rest of those truffles, because the amount of time it takes you to put your finger into a box and into your mouth is a lot less than it takes to go over to the frying pan, cook some mushroom potatoes and chicken. Feel me? So the second thing, though, so that was like if you're not planning IF. And then the second thing is just when people kind of, I guess, lose their way of IF. I don't feel like a lot of people are well informed on what IF is. I feel like a lot of people kind of either just go with their own, they either jump to conclusions because they haven't done it before, or they try it, but they do it their own way. And it's very simple, man. You're just eating the same foods that you would have eaten throughout the day on a cut in one time period. That's it. It can promote binging. This is where I feel like, just like anything else in your life, you have to decide the pros and the cons, and you have to weigh your strength, your own mental fortitude, because this is something that's for more intermediate advanced users of diets and fitness and stuff, and people who are a little bit more mentally disciplined at this moment in their life. I probably couldn't have done IF in the beginning of my lifting. I probably could not have done that because I was just trying to lift and eat a lot of food, and I wasn't trying to think about it. I was just trying to do it. So if you're not going to think about IF, it can be dangerous. For example, you could be like, all right, I am doing IF on purpose. I'm purposely doing this. I'm going to start eating at 6 o'clock tonight, whatever it is. So you fast all day, and then you get to there, and then you binge because you aren't prepared to fast and then eat. This is where the strength comes in. Eat a regular amount of food. You know what I'm saying? You have to, because when you go into a meal, usually when you're cutting, you're getting kind of hungry, and then you eat the meal. Maybe you overeat the meal. Maybe you eat a little bit more than you should, snack a little bit. But Likely, you eat that meal and then you stop. And the reason you can stop is that you went from slightly hungry to now slightly satiated, full. When you're going through IF, though, you're taking the hunger from each of those maybe 4 or 5 meals that you split throughout the day, and you're compacting them all into one, and then you're giving yourself a first meal, and then you're giving yourself the rest of the meals, and you're going from like mega 10 out of 10 hungry all the way down to hopefully somewhere around 2 or 1 or 0 out of 10. But the problem is people get just like, they get addicted. They're like, yes, this food is so good, I can't stop eating, and then they end up overeating. So if you're mentally strong and you have the ability to say, all right, check it out, I snack throughout the day, this is the way that I can keep the snacks out of my diet, I'm going to eat all at once and then try not to eat over during my eating period. And then if you can stick to that, it makes this so easy, makes this diet so foolproof, it makes your life a lot easier. Like right now, I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat. I'm just hungry and I'm just like, whatever, F it, I'm going to make it to the gym, make it past that, chill out for a few more hours editing video, and then I finally get that payload. But the problem is, yeah, a lot of people can't tell themselves to stop. So if you're one of those people, getting yourself to a starving point is the reason that it's the reason you're gonna fail on your cut. It's the reason you're gonna develop binging habits. If you're a person who can't do it, for example, this is probably a great way to test it out. If you're someone who can't follow IF, you shouldn't do it. If you can't do, like let's say you fail 3 days in the first week, you go over your calories because you're just too hungry and you can't help but go over your calories. You should probably, unless you're like just 1000% committed to IF and you really want to get through the first few weeks of it being complicated and hard, then I guess you can keep going, but you probably shouldn't do it. You should probably go back to daily eating throughout the entire day and make sure that you're getting the calories in that you want. You know, if you don't want to go over 2,500, then make sure you don't go over 2,500. Whether you do that in IF or not IF is up to you. But I just feel like there's a lot of this like pointless negative hate for IF, the diet. And there's no reason, there's no science behind that hatred. It's just people who, just like when people talk about Accutane, they're like, oh yeah, dude, Accutane, I heard that makes you bleed from your eyes and you shoot bats out of your ass. It's like, you heard that, but is it true? No, you just heard it, and then you were like, yeah, that sounds right, and then you're like, okay, I'll put my bias behind it, and then you're like, all right, now it's a pretty strong opinion because I believe it. That's not how it works. That's not how it is, right? So if you're interested in IF, don't let the naysayers, deter you from being interested in reading more about it, maybe watching the video that I put up on Humorous Fitness, my main channel. Just make sure you make your own decisions, guys. I saw too many of these comments that were negative, and I just wanted to kind of clear this up. I know this is on the second channel, so only some of you guys will see this, but yeah, IF is safe. It's awesome. I love it. This is my second week. It's doing super well. I'm getting nice and cut. I'm seeing the double splits in my biceps. It's crazy. I have another 3.5 weeks, I think, or 4 weeks until body power, and I'm super excited to see how the rest of this IF goes. If you guys have any questions about IF, please drop them either here or more importantly on the main channel so I can answer them for you guys, because I didn't even realize that the only other people who have done IF really and still have really done IF or covered it is the Hodge twins. And I knew they made that video a long time ago, but I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. And people were like, oh man, finally someone's doing IF again in the fitness community. Oh, finally someone's covering the topics. And I was like, oh really? I didn't realize IF was like not covered very well. And if it's not covered very well and I'm cutting, that's great. I'm gonna cover it really well. I love the diet. I'd love to inform people on it, and it'd be cool to see people doing it because they heard about it and then they actually enjoyed it and they were like, dude, you got me onto IF. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I'm going to get editing on tomorrow's video for Humorous Fitness, which is going to be my Friday food day, a full day of eating intermittent fasting style. So really it's a full like 3 hours of eating with a day of vlogging before it. It's going to be good, guys. I'm going to take it at least like 3 hours to edit, but I'm going to edit some of it right now, wait for LP to get home from work, go to the gym, come back, edit some more, and then answer up some clients. I'm rambling. I love you all. Team Beyond the Week. Big J. Left titty or die, Myron!